5.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was gonna say. I always tell her whenever we hear Larry talking. I swear to God, he's like a voice off of Family Guy.
He is.
I mean, just like listen to him, like,
is.
oh, he could be Family Guy.
Stop screaming.
Hey everybody, welcome to Living Hopefuls Recovery Chat. It is Friday night. I hope everybody's week was great. We had a good week here. The weather's not really cooperating with us. We get the pool up, we get the new air conditioner in, and now it's 60-some degrees outside. I don't know what's going on. It's Mother Nature's just having fun, I guess. Tonight we have two guests with us. We have Deborah and we have Greg, her husband. And we're going to be talking recovery. Deborah herself is here and she's dealing with recovery on both ends of the spectrum. Greg is in recovery himself and their son is as well. So we're going to look at it as a mom and a wife and a husband with their son. It's so important that we get the help and the understanding that everybody needs. And what better way to do that when you have a spouse and parents at the same time, and to see the hopefulness and the fact that recovery does happen. We're always seeing the news on, the crisis, the epidemic that's going, well, not as much now because of COVID, but, it was just so in the news with all of that. And because COVID has really taken the light off of it, we now have the COVID in the forefront, but people are still dying, people are still using, people are still recovering. And we never get the numbers, or we never get the facts on how many people are in recovery. There's so many more people in recovery than we can even begin to imagine. But because it is an anonymous program, we don't hear the stories or see the stories of recovery. And since the heroin epidemic had gotten so bad, it came to light. A lot of people were like, people are dying because of the anonymity of the programs. And they just felt the need to, start talking about it and letting people know that recovery does happen and recovery is there. So it's really important that we talk about it. And so with that, I'm just glad to be part of all of this that's starting, that's coming out, and people are talking about it. I really never talked about it because, I wasn't affected personally by it, and my stigma also had me not looking at it very nicely. So once it hit home and I started getting educated, I saw the need to help families. I think it's so important that we let the families know that there is help out there and where to go to get it. So anybody out there watching, please share this out, because you never know who may need to see this. The last two shows was shared out by some people, and I actually have people calling in to get help. So this is helping people, and that's what's important. The more we talk about it, the more people come to those that are speaking out and saying, I have a problem. How can I get help? So, that's an amazing tool to let people know where to go and how to get the help that they need. I know when I was affected by it with my loved one, I had no idea. I just know, okay, all the drunks go here. Maybe they can help me. So, I mean, that was my thought. And until my loved one hit the program and was learning, and the rehab reached out to me and said, here's something that can help you. That was the first time I ever knew that there was help for the families.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I didn't even think the families needed help. Well, it's their deal,
Yeah.
We're either getting a divorce or you're getting thrown out. Like, there was no, oh, there's the uncle again, So, not my problem. I don't have to deal with it. Screw them. They can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a whole different outlook on addiction and substance use disorder as they're trying to change the stigma so people start seeing it more of as disease and not as a failure.
Right.
So I try to do both because a lot of people do not identify with substance use disorder. They identify with addict, alcoholic. So I try to keep it both so that so the substance use disorder person knows I'm talking about addiction. So, because not everybody has the information. So, I'm just glad that you guys are coming out and telling us your story and helping a family member out there that may be needing it. So if anybody that is signing on have any questions or concerns during the show, please add it into the comments and we will answer them as the show's going on the best that we can. If you have questions or concerns, and want to talk to our guests, you can give us a call at 267-737-8031. We are here till 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are not going to discuss politics and we're not going to discuss religion. And I just add that because there's new people coming in all the time. So I just want everybody to be mindful of, heated subjects we don't want to get into. So with that being said, I just want to send it over here to Deborah because you're getting hit on both sides. Like, when it was your husband, how were you dealing with that at the time?
Oh, it was tough. I felt embarrassed. I didn't want anybody to know, that my family was this way, and it just, made me very embarrassed. So there was nobody I could talk to, and I went to a few groups, but I just didn't feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. So it was just a long struggle. Mm-hmm. Then I finally said, to my husband, I said, it's either me or your alcohol. So what is it going to be? And then off he went to Livengren, and he was there for about 30 days. And he did good there. He kind of took over and, got everybody, into the program, trying to help people too. And
right,
it was rough, it was kind of like a break for me too, because of all the fighting and everything. I just, it was like a nice break. And then then when he came home, trying to learn each other again. Mm-hmm.
Now, did you have kids at the time?
Yes.
Of the addiction?
My Gregory was 10, and then my Jessica was 7. Mm-hmm. So it was rough.
It affected the whole family.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so it was very rough with that.
Oh,
so.
there I am.
And it was just kind of easy, like me or the alcohol. And
well, we tried, for years. And then he said he wanted to go, so I took him to Livengren, and that was years ago. I forget how long it was. Mm-hmm. So we get there, and then he's filling out the paperwork, and then all of a sudden he's like, I'm not doing this. and I'm standing there, like, and then thank God some family members were like, it's okay, don't worry. Like, I felt so embarrassed. He just like runs out of there, then throws all the papers out the window. I'm like, oh, this is very good. So this is not working at the moment.
Yeah.
So and then he got really sick and almost died, and that was when that was, how old were you? It was Jesse was 7, so that was about almost 11 years ago. So he ended up getting like a
2009.
cyst. Yeah, like getting a cyst.
Due to the alcohol?
Yeah,
Or-
being
That's what
put
I
on
keep
a
on- that's what I was-
ventilator. Yeah, he was put on a ventilator. The doctor said, I'm not sure if he's going to live or die. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's
And
kind of an eye-opening.
It didn't open my eyes though.
No, it didn't.
No.
He was,
No,
he was
that was
good
the first
for,
time.
yeah.
Like, I mean, they
was
said my
good for
gallbladder
2
was going
years,
bad.
yeah.
So I just know from my past experience with my grandfather, his gallbladder went bad to the point where they said if you didn't bring him in the hospital within 3 or 4 hours, he would have been dead. So it kind of seems like it passed down, but I don't think the alcohol helped much because he was
Right.
he was in his 70s when that happened. I was in my 30s. But
Right.
you figure it's like
And
yeah.
the gallbladder's one of those things that, like, you really don't need, I think.
Yeah, but when
You
it goes
can-
bad and it gets deteriorated, oh my God, it does some damage.
Oh,
It does
yeah.
that much. But I call so like I said, it's like you figure that that would open my eyes. But the problem was when you're in a coma, you don't feel nothing. You don't feel no pain. You don't feel nothing. Nothing's it's like a human. If it gets pain, it remembers and says, oh, that's bad. Let's not do that again. But the problem
Right.
is with the coma is it's you don't have no pain. You're dreaming, and it's like there's nothing there to sit there and give you a reminder. Like, no, that was bad. Don't do it. You don't want to do it again. It's kind of
Right.
like our son when he was younger. He's sitting there, looking at a candle, trying to play with it. I'm like, stop, right? And after the 4th time, I'm like, okay, go ahead. Let me see what you're gonna do. He went by the candle, found out it was hot, and then he pulled away. And guess what? Never again did he play with the candles.
Right.
So it's just human nature, I would think. But yeah, that wasn't enough to sit there and stop me from drinking because it's about 2 years later I started drinking again.
Right, you were good for 2
Yeah.
years and then went back to it again.
Yeah.
So
And
like I
it's
said,
like,
Now, what do you think caused you to go back to it?
I'm not sure to tell you the truth. It's just
Because I know I know when I talk to some people, I hear some people will say, oh, it's been 11 years. I haven't picked up a drink, so I'm good.
Well, that's probably what was going through my mind too. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I was coming home from work, and like I said, the thing was alcohol, especially in like where we live and stuff like that. It's like there's liquor stores everywhere. I mean, anywhere,
Right.
you make a right hand, there's liquor. You'll make there's a, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
And now it's all in the stores.
yeah, exactly. I was surprised the shop right up the street from us has a whole section, and I'm like, when the. I didn't know this was legal or allowed, because it's a food store,
Right.
But like I said, you used to make a right hand turn at this one liquor store, and I'm just like, you know what? I just get a pint. I should be, just for the weekend, just one little thing, and it turned into like, then the next weekend, and then the next week, then it started like, okay, Thursday, just to, and then
Well, because it starts with a T,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
ends with a Y, so
Yeah.
I'll just do it on those days.
right, yeah, you got that right. So,
Yeah.
but my daughter knew. It's like when I stopped in and got the first pint, and I just drank the first pint and then went home. She already knew that. She's like, Dad, and I'm like, what? She goes, I know you were drinking. I'm like, just a little bit. I just tried it,
Just had a sip.
This is, But then it turned into full blown and everything like that.
Yeah.
Then I got to the point where it's like, when we went to Living Room, like I called Deb was saying, or my honey bunch was saying. I'm sorry. But we went to Living Room, and I wasn't ready at the time. But the second time we went, it was to the point where it's like, now I have to actually have the alcohol to function. It wasn't fun no more. It was like now to get up, you had to have alcohol. If you were working during the day, you had to have alcohol, keep going and stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, this is no fun no more. This is like, I need to function with this. I said, this is not good anymore. So that's when I went to Living Room, and like I said, 28 days. It's like, I guess it was funny because in '99 I quit smoking cold turkey, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I can quit alcohol anytime I want because I did it with cigarettes. What the hell? It's no big deal.
Right.
A whole different beast.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the 28 days was giving me enough time to sit there and get away from it to where I could build up my I would just say, not self-confidence, but my determination.
Right.
I guess you would say.
Right.
And once I got to my determination and said, okay, I got this now.
Your mindset
Now I was able to sit there and fight it off like I did
Right.
with cigarettes.
Now, when you went into Living Room and you were working the program, what do you think made you want to continue in the sobriety?
Well, see, the thing was with sobriety, what I found for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I kept on going to meetings for a year and stuff like that, then I kind of stopped because I was building my truck and everything. That's why I found the hobby. But the thing of it is that I love about sobriety for myself is the self-control I have. Mm-hmm. You know, that I control my destiny. I control what I move. I control what I build and everything like that.
Right.
So that's why I said it's like, that's the one thing that keeps me sober, that, that power that I have of being able to make, decisions and seeing things happen. I mean, yeah, I do build the trucks, like my daughter's truck and this truck and stuff like that I drive now. But it's like, it's when you look at it and you see like the end result, you're like, oh my God, it's beautiful. But you know what? This thing might last 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. A bottle of vodka, maybe 2-3 days.
Right.
So that there shows that, like, you know what, what's the point of spending that kind of money when I could sit there and spend money on my truck and build it out where it's like, I'll get 15 years of pleasure out of it.
Right.
20 years of pleasure out of it, depending on how I clean her or take care of her and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that kind of drives me there. That it's like, I could sit there and sit on the front porch and look out and say, damn, I did that.
Right.
So it's like, it's that kind of thing that keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. And they say when you leave treatment, you take your toolbox with you. Mm-hmm. And what do you feel your toolbox was? Your meetings, your support?
Yeah, the meetings and support, and especially my family, you know what I'm saying? Because I still have them.
Right.
It's not like, some guys that go into rehab, when they come out, they don't have anybody.
Right.
So, I mean, I could see why they could possibly relapse real fast, because coming out into, like, to nobody, it's like, you know what I'm saying? But I still had my family.
Right.
So I still had my support and everything like that. So I had someone to come home to.
Right.
I still, you know what I'm saying? So that's what really keeps me going also. It's like, having all that.
Yeah, I just started following a page. It states that it's a Al-Anon support page, but it's not. It's not a program. It's just a lot of people, and a lot of it's spouses,
okay.
and a lot of it is men or husbands, and I don't see a whole heck of a lot of support out there for the alcoholic spouse. I see that as they've destroyed so much of it, of that relationship, that they're not staying connected, and they're not supported through the family, at least through the spouse.
Right.
So it's great when you do have that that family support, but also that the family gets the support out there.
Yeah.
That the family feels and finds that forgiveness, and that's not going to happen overnight. That's definitely not, and not every spousal relationship, is salvageable.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
Alcohol can make people very nasty and do very violent things. So I understand that aspect of it. So it's awesome that you have that support and are were able to build back your relationship.
Yeah.
And do you feel it's a better relationship?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Than it was.
Yeah.
And plus, he went on the Vivitrol for a year also.
Yeah.
But if you drink, that could kill you. So a lot of people don't understand that either. And you can die from that too. But I told him, so
No, because I really wanted it. I really wanted sobriety. So whatever I could take or whatever I could do, because like I said, if you take the pills, because they have a daily pill you can take,
right,
and it's too easy to like, shit, I forgot today.
Right.
And I'll just get it tomorrow. With the Vivitrol, it's shot in you. You have no choice. And that's what I wanted. Something that, made sure, that I was like, you know what, I don't have to worry about it as much, that I know it's in there and stuff like that. So it's like, for me, it's like, you better be serious if you're going to take Vivitrol.
Yeah.
Especially for alcoholism.
Right. And I think Vivitrol, is an amazing tool. I think it is absolutely an amazing tool. But yes, you can. Now, I understand when you take the Vivitrol, you can still drink on it, but you'll never get that euphoria.
That's the problem with it. If you keep on drinking, you're gonna get alcohol poisoning because you're looking to get that high,
Right.
or the euphoria, whatever, and you keep on drinking. But the thing is, you don't understand. You're gonna get alcohol poisoning, and that's gonna kill you.
Right. And I also
So-
understand that you're still slurring your words, you're still like staggering around because it's still affecting your body. You're just not feeling that euphoria.
I never got
That
that
you
far.
had.
So I don't know.
We never got to
I
that.
don't know about the side
So
effects,
thank
but-
goodness.
I mean,
I mean, that's what they
Wow.
say. Like,
Wow.
however, when you're taking it for opiates, you don't feel any, like, you don't have that reaction that you did, but your body is still taking in that chemical, and it can still kill you
So it-
because you're trying to say, oh, I can take enough to get high from it with Vivitrol. So you have to be careful. I mean, you have to really understand that this is a tool to help you
Right.
continue your sobriety.
Yep.
Not, it's not going to save your life if
Right.
you're going to try and beat it.
Right.
And so you have to be very, careful with
Sure,
it.
yeah.
And you have to be serious about it because that can be an issue. So,
If I had a whole list too of the medications that you couldn't take because it would, block it.
Right.
Like there's certain things, I think Tylenol was one that you could take, but that was about it. But there was a whole, whole list of medications that you couldn't take. 'Cause
Right.
It wouldn't do anything. Like especially if you have pain.
Right.
So
right,
there's a
yeah,
whole,
it's,
list.
yeah, you're in a car accident or something, and yeah, that can be a factor, but, there's nothing like Motrin.
Yeah.
The Motrin can help
Yeah.
most issues. So I'm just glad to see that you stayed together as a family and got through
Yeah.
the worst part of it, and you're still on, your way to a better life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely, when I run into people that have sobriety, especially long-term sobriety, just that their attitudes, the way they look at life, the way they just feel about themselves, it's just such a different personality from what they were before.
Yeah.
And they're great people before, but
Right.
they come out the other end and even, just lighter about everything. They're not so,
Like for me, it's like I definitely saw self confidence is definitely way up. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, I love to build vehicles and cars and trucks and all that kind of stuff. And for the past 2 weeks, I've been, I guess 2-3 weeks, I've been just thumbing through Facebook Marketplace for trucking jobs, see what's out there, how much they're paying, all that kind of stuff to go back to it, maybe possibly. And in the middle of it, it came up welder fabricator. And I'm like, well, I love doing that kind of stuff, And it came up for called building Corvette chassis. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what's the chance of that happening? You know what I'm saying? Like it was I mean, I'm not extremely religious, but it's like I believe more like in fate. You know what I'm saying? Like what's the chance of that happening to be inside trucking? It's almost like something was drawing me to it, So like I said, it's like with the years of working on cars and working at the last place and stuff like that and welding fabric, it's like I went in there with confidence. Like I wasn't
Right.
like sheepish and stuff like that. It's like the guy asked me do you know how to do this or that? I'm like, oh yeah, and he goes, well, these molds got messed up. What would you do to fix it? And I'm like, oh shoot, I would say they're cut here, put it here, this and that, and showing them. So before I would be like, oh, I don't know, But now it's like especially like you said, with a couple of years under my belt, which I have maybe 7 years in August.
awesome.
It's like the self confidence is there.
Because a lot of people start drinking or drugging just because they don't feel comfortable in their skin. Like they're shy or they just, so many people, when you go into these meetings and you hear them talking and it's like, I'm the quarterback and whatever, they have the best life. And you're like, why would you turn to this? But deep inside, they just aren't feeling what we're seeing and what they're producing. So alcohol or drugs can,
Yeah.
like spark that
Yeah.
in the brain. And
I mean, I could see that.
yeah. And it builds your confidence. I
Yeah.
know, I think I'm a great dancer when I have a couple drinks in me, but I can't get on the dance floor unless, I have
Right.
that. So, it changes your perception
Yeah.
of who you are and what you're doing. And the nice thing about me is I can go and have a couple of drinks and, but we know that somebody with that chemical imbalance can't do that.
No, I found, like I said, that's how I found out. It's like, like I said, I had 2 years sober, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like, I'll just do it on a Friday on the way home. It's just, and I'll be good for the weekend. It's like I can control this.
Right.
Well, you can control it for a couple weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And then all of a
And
sudden you're like, nah, what's the Thursday? It's no big deal, or Saturday. It's just one more, No, it snowballed it's not real fast for me, but it snowballed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So.
I know that we were trying to help a kid that just keeps turning out and going back out, and we were talking to him, and Pappy actually asked him about the marijuana process, because a lot of people are turning to the marijuana to help them off of the stuff that's killing them.
Yeah.
And what was it he said about the mashed potatoes?
Oh, I forgot how I wrote the analogy.
Yeah, it's like, he said it's kind of like you really want mashed potatoes, homemade mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And then somebody gives you mashed potatoes, but they're instant.
Yeah.
And they're good.
But they're not what you were really looking for
Yeah,
to
yeah,
satisfy.
Yeah, it
urge.
didn't
Yeah.
kind of satisfy that whole taste bud. So you go back and you're still looking for that taste bud.
Yeah.
So he said,
Eventually you're going to gravitate back towards the
Yeah.
potatoes somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah, he said, so, I can go out and smoke a joint. I can go and smoke a whole bag full.
Yeah.
But that's just going to take me right back to K&A and
Yeah.
shooting dope again.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty powerful, because
Yeah.
you just don't think, well, I'm not going to do heroin, I'm just going to do marijuana.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do heroin, I'm just going to drink alcohol.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why when I was talking about the medical card for our son, I'm just like, I already know him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, he's been drugging since he was 14. And I'm just sitting there like, that's just going to lead him right back to it, because it's done in the past. And I'm
Right.
like, he doesn't have that, that self-control
Right.
to sit there and say, okay, this is good enough or whatever. It's kind of like, like I said, it's like, that's the one thing that, like I was saying, that's the word I was actually looking for when I said about, the 28 days. It helped me bring that self-control back into my life, so this way I could fend it off.
Right.
I could fend off those urges. Of course you get them, but it's easier once you get that. It calls self-control a little bit better, and you can actually fend it off a lot easier.
Right.
It's not as hard, So.
Now, what about the kids? When did they get any kind of a support? I know that there is Alateen and Narateen for the kids, but I think you have to be 11 to start that, just to help them through all of the chaos that was going on at home.
Well, they were seeing psychiatrists, and then he retired, so now there's somebody else. But then my son kind of fell out of that, and then they went to some Alateen. We went to.
Yeah, it was
at the church. It was at the church. Yeah,
it's a pretty big church, so they had one on either side of it. So
Okay,
Yeah.
in Langhorne.
no, but in Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill.
Oh,
It
okay.
was, I forget the name of
Yeah,
the
we have one
church.
in Langhorne. They I'm not sure if they're meeting anymore because of COVID, but they had the Naranon meeting, they had the NA meeting, and then they had Narateen too. So it was
Okay.
like the whole family unit was, able to go together, even though they were in separate parts of the church. So, it's and we kind of forget about the kids and how it's affecting the kids in the house, and the chaos that comes with that.
And a lot of people try to hide it from the children. They think they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And kids are a lot sharper.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, very,
You know what I
very
mean?
sharp.
And they know everything that's going on.
Especially
it's
my
sadly,
daughter.
you're only
Yeah.
fooling yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. And it's a great teaching moment because sometimes the kids in school also know what's going on and are really giving them a hard time about their family life. And they're now putting that stigma on the person that's using, where instead of getting the support, so finding that support outside of the schools and the playground is nice to know that they have a place, they have somewhere to go to help them get through that process. So that's awesome.
My daughter used to talk to Miss Pap, they would call her. Like she was a psychiatrist or a psychologist at school, so she would talk to her a lot, and she would try to help her and everything. So,
Right.
yeah, so.
Yeah.
But I'm not really, I think her friends were worse. Like they had more issues.
I guess.
Like
I
a
don't
few
know.
of her friends had more issues. Like, so from, broken families and a lot more issues. That I don't know if she was, and they would always call my daughter to, talk to her, and my daughter was kind of getting fed up. She's like, "What about me? I
Yeah.
need somebody to listen to me too," and nobody
Yeah.
would. So she kind of got a little fed up with all that too.
But because she's probably the caretaker, she's the one trying to keep everything, good, everything calm, and everything, on the up and up. So nobody knows and nobody sees. So they're not going to know she's going through something because she's always there for them and fixing them and forgetting her. So yeah, that's great that she has that. Outside support. That's so important kudos, good for you. Keep it up, keep going, keep working,
Oh, yeah.
because
Nice truck.
Thank you.
I thought there was a helicopter outside. I'm like, is there another accident? I'm
Just
like,
us.
oh no, it's a hovering truck.
It's been about 5-6 years built. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like,
We have another good friend of ours that has a very nice truck. It just reminded me.
yeah.
I mean, you two would probably enjoy each other. Like,
Yeah.
that's a really nice F-350 all
Yeah.
jacked
Yeah.
up. And,
And he's always going to the car
Anyway.
shows.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and we went to a truck show one time and it rained. It took him like 2 weeks to clean the truck, the undercarriage and everything else.
Oh,
'cause
wow.
He pulled his camper in there and he spun
Yeah,
some
yeah,
mud up
yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
terrible.
that
I'm
was
not that
crazy.
fanatical
Oh,
about
man.
it.
No,
But
he's-
it's,
Like,
yeah.
I ain't gonna say his name.
He's a way fanatic.
Yeah.
Now, you touched on something, not to go off track, but you were saying about how confident you felt
Yeah.
in that job interview. It's a shame now that everything's online for
Yeah.
these places. You can't sell yourself to an employer like you used to. Like,
Right.
I'm good at doing that. I was proud of myself getting jobs. And
Yeah.
I can always BS my way in there and impress the guy. And people can't do that anymore. And it was great you were that confident. You noticed the
Yeah.
difference, like how you took control of the interview.
Right.
It's where it's sad now. You can't, and you get into the job, and then the people, you decide, oh, maybe this ain't really for you now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then your whole world's like.
Yeah.
I always like the old fashioned, And the people,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the one thing that we're missing this time is human contact, face to face. Or even like when you send your resumes in and they start going through resumes and they start looking like no. Well, why don't you bring him in and see what he really is or who?
I see them work.
or-
I see it like that. They just you fill an application like that.
Yeah.
Like one time I went for a job and the boss said, Rich, everything seems perfect. You seem like a really good fit for the job. He says, is there anything about you I should know up front? And matter of fact, I said, well, a lot of my friends say I'm too honest. I'm too honest for my own good.
Yeah.
And the guy said, well, I don't think that's a bad trait in a person. I said, you think I give a shit what you think?
Yeah.
That was Pappy's joke.
But the joke for the evening.
That's funny.
But so now Dad, hubby's doing great. Everything's cool. We're living life and everybody's happy, and then boom, we find out our son is struggling.
Yeah, I got good. He took over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I know,
Jesus.
so, it's like I'm not sure if he wants to help at the moment. So you know, he just you have to want to help yourself.
Right.
But you can't like make them and force them to do something that you want. They have to want it.
Right.
And then being a nurse too, I've lost a lot of patients to alcohol, to heroin, fentanyl. So yeah, it's it's sad.
Sad thing about we lose more people to alcohol overall than any other drug. The only thing is it takes longer
Yes.
Oh,
for
yes.
that effect to
Yes.
take place. It's not immediate.
Right.
You know what I mean? People don't realize how big a problem alcohol is in not just the United States, in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not going away anytime soon. I've
No.
been around for a long time, and people just finally starting to come to grips with realizing it's a disease.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard sell to some people. I mean, I was one of the people. I was a hard sell one time to believe that. You know, with any addiction. You know, and now I've done a complete about face, and I can't get mad at people for thinking that way. I'd be a hypocrite because I used to be that person. You know,
Yeah,
I used
yeah.
to think that way, so I'm a little more lenient trying to convince them and flip them around.
Yeah.
But I think more and more people are coming to realize, understand addiction more.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the big opiate crisis. I mean, we had so many people hooked on painkillers and didn't realize they were hooked.
Yeah.
You know, until all these pharmacists and these doctors, their feet were held to the fire and they're held accountable, and they're cutting all these poor people off. They what do you mean? I've been on these for 20 years. You can't just, you know. And I do go to 3 different doctors each month. You know,
Right.
I have it in my own family that did that. You know, now these people are hooked on opiates and they're forced to go to the streets and buy heroin
Yeah.
and stuff. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I know they have pain management too. They,
Right.
have a strict control on that too now.
The alcohol's been around forever, but people just never looked at it that way. Until
Because
now, it's-
because like you said, it kills you. It kills people slowly.
Right.
Where heroin, it's like instant.
Yes.
I mean, it's not even like you don't get a chance. You're just like, whatever's mixed in it, you don't know what's mixed in it. 'Cause
With
you're-
everything now. With
Right.
You
I mean,
can't
it's just-
even buy
Yeah.
the most benign thing anymore. You can buy that synthetic marijuana. They put some fentanyl on it because
Yeah.
they want to get you hooked on the fentanyl,
Sure.
on the fetty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little slang talk there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, God forbid, you don't have a. Put too much. These guys aren't compounding pharmacists. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
got one grain too many, and the guy's unconscious, can't breathe. I mean, it's. I've seen it, man. I've reversed a lot of reversals out on the street. One I like to talk about.
Yeah.
Been involved in a lot of them. I've seen the effects of it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
people think they understand it. They see it on the news. This and that. You're standing at ground zero. You feel like you're in a third world country. You're down in Kensington, and you look around yourself. You're like surrounded by these people are like just in another world.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It is. It's scary out there too. It really is scary.
I don't know. They're like zombies. I hate to make analogies like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they really are. And I've had the opportunity to talk with these individuals, lots of them, and hear their life stories of where they come from. And like lawyers saying, this one was the head of the football team. This guy had a whole free ride through college. This girl had a tuition. This guy was a carpenter. See, a lot of military guys that had been their whole lives just turned around. You know, now they're pushing a shopping cart down the city where like a year ago they're on top of the world.
Yeah.
It's horrible. The stories are horrible.
Very true.
Michelle Marshall.
Yeah, that's my friend.
So we have Michelle saying, "Hi, sister."
Hello.
So if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask either Deborah or Greg, please feel free to put it in the comments or give us a call in. We'll be happy to answer any questions. We won't answer them. We'll just give suggestions of what we've done, where we've been, and how we've handled it. And if it's something that you feel that you can do and help your loved one, then hey, go for it. If you feel that it's something that wouldn't work for you, then leave it behind. It's, it's all what you take from this. So we're getting into finding out that your son has an issue. Is it something that he came to you about, or you just saw the signs and questioned him on it?
Well, what happened was, when was it, like 15, when he started working for a tree company with his friend and the grandmother called me and said, he's on heroin. They're on heroin and fentanyl, and that they're all fired right now until they get straight. And that's when I found out, all about that. And then, and then I thought he was okay, and then he kept going back to it. Like, he would hide it, and then you could tell, like, especially he would take Xanax and get very nasty.
Right.
And it was, not a good thing.
And he was what? How old?
15.
15?
Was,
15, well, 16.
Maybe 16,
Yeah, because
17 when the Xanax. I don't even know when he started the Xanax. I really don't know.
Right.
Because like I say, I mean, even when he was at 14, it's like, when he was with that girl and stuff, but you already knew something was different. So, like, what's up with him, But they call, like, we can never catch it, see, because he's always saying, I'm just smoking a little bit of weed.
You make excuses.
Yeah,
for it.
and I'm just like, look, I'm
a
like-
lot of boys. I mean, we were blindsided
Yeah.
the same way. We had no idea.
Because like I said, like, when you sit there, you're looking at him like, weed doesn't make you nasty. I mean,
Right,
you're sitting there, you're angry, you're throwing things and all that kind of stuff. Like, no, what are you really on? So,
Well, we wouldn't have the anger part, but like my individual would like come over and watch TV and he's snoring next to me. We're standing there. Oh man, like he's had there 5 minutes. His sleep sitting on the sofa.
Yeah.
He works weird hours. He did. He was in the machine shop and all. He working all
Yeah.
wacky hours. You make excuses for the behavior, but
Right.
I didn't know what I was looking at. I really didn't
yeah.
until it gotten to a point so bad. And I said, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah,
I
yeah.
told her like,
Yeah.
heroin.
Yeah.
You got to be shitting me. No way.
Yeah.
Because
why
when-
did I see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, I lived in Pennsylvania, and my parents moved us out to California. And when I came back, like, everybody that I hung out with had died from heroin. But not from the heroin itself. They were dying from whatever it was getting mixed with. So, when you hear that somebody close to you has a heroin addiction, you don't see anything but death, because that's all I saw of all my friends. I didn't see anybody do heroin and then come back and live.
Yeah.
So that was totally devastation. And it wasn't until Livingren and the parent group, family group, guided me through it. And I started hearing speakers and knowing that there was hope, that it didn't have to be a death sentence. So that was great. Eric, hey, welcome. Jess, hello. If you have anything you want to add, please. You can give us a call at 267-737-8031 if you want to add to anything.
Jastabowski right there.
So, yes, if you follow that, you can see all the people that are commenting. So, Eric, you're never late. As long as you show up, you're never late. You'll have to catch up, but you're never late. So, now that you know your son is now struggling with an addiction of heroin and fentanyl, what is your next step? Did you tell him he had to go away, or did he come to you for help, or what?
Well, the first time he went to Livingren, you took him there. Because he was, really sick, going through withdrawal and everything. So then I was working, and my husband took him to Livingren. So then he got kicked out, a day before?
2 days before he graduated.
2 days before. He just, decided to do some stupid thing. So, and then he was going to the meetings, like, for, every day, going to the meetings. And then he had a counselor, or, that somebody that, what do you call that? That he talks to? A counselor or
Sponsor.
a sponsor? Yeah, he had a sponsor
Yeah.
that he would talk to and everything. And then he was on the Suboxone, so we had him on that. So, and then he met this girl and kind of went back downhill again. And
Yeah, girls have a tendency to do that.
no, we had to kick him out because
Does he
he
come
took
to visit or?
Nope.
no, because he took the Xanax, so we had to kick him out.
Right.
And then finally, he called me that one day. It was in February, and said I'm gonna die. So I called the police because I knew he was somewhere in Pemberton. So I called the police, and they tracked his phone to Tom's River. It was Sunrise Detox. Well, he said, I said, where are you? And he said, I'm at a detox. So I looked it up, detox in Tom's River, and it was Sunrise. And then they talked to me, and then they put him to More Life in Metuchen. So, and the counselors will call me and let me know what's going on. So I haven't heard anything really this week. So.
And it's hard because we know that it's up to them. It's we can't make them. We can't tell them what to do, how to work the program, how the program works. It's something that they have to figure out for themselves. They have to want it. They have to need it. And, that's a difficult journey for them. And, it's especially being so young. That's scary, being so young. And, Cripe's 15, they're just allowed to get their first job and only work a certain amount of hours. So they're still our babies, and they're always saying, 18, I'm an adult, I can do what I want to do. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah, well, act that way. Yeah, act that way,
Yeah.
They don't.
When you start acting like an adult, then
Yeah, exactly.
maybe. But
Do you guys have Narcan in your house?
Yes.
Okay, because we'd hook you up with someone if it wasn't the case. Because he might call you up and I want to talk, and like you talk, saying. At least I know you have it.
Yeah.
We got it free. They were with the pharmacies were giving it away. When was that? Like,
Rite Aid or something like that.
Rite Aid, I think, was giving
Rite
it
Aid,
away.
yeah.
So we were able to get a free one.
And that is something that if you have a loved one out there and they are using opiates, it's so important to have the Narcan on hand because the Narcan can reverse an overdose. At least gives you a chance to get 911 to the house and get them into a hospital and possibly end up getting that second chance of life in recovery. So, Eric, to catch you up, since you're late, we have with us Greg and his wife, Deborah. They we're just discussing recovery. Greg is in recovery himself, and they have a son that is working on his recovery right now. And you're all caught up now. Welcome for joining late. But Greg did share his path to recovery, and Deborah shared her story on dealing with it. And we're just talking about their son now and where they're at with that, and what is helping you through your recovery process. And a lot of our loved ones don't feel that we're in recovery. They just don't realize that we are, because we are affected terrible when it's a loved one, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a child, whether it's a close family member, or even a friend. We are affected by this, and a lot of people, depending on what the family member has put them through, can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm blessed that I didn't have those really devastating circumstances where, the violence or, the throwing things. I'm blessed that I don't have the stories of going out on the streets and trying to find my loved one, or prison, jail. Like I'm blessed that way, but I'm still affected with addiction from my whole life. There's been addiction in and out of my life, so it's just nice to know that there is help for the families, whether you go to Nar-Anon, whether you go to Al-Anon, whether you go to a support group. Actually, Deborah and I and Greg and Pappy all go to the same family support group through Living Grin, and it really kept me sane. It's devastating going through this and feeling that you're alone. So when we were in admissions, they had a family. Actually, when I was there, the family person wasn't there. I just got the paperwork. So they came out and they told me some things that I should look into, and they gave me the piece of paper and said, "Here, read this while we're doing this." And I'm like, I'm too devastated to even consider reading this. Like, my head is all over the place, and I can't. So it wasn't until I got home that I got to read into it, and I got a call from the counselor that shared with me some of their different groups that I could attend to help me understand what was going through the process and everything. So
Nicole's curious when the Living Grin Family Support Group meets.
Nicole, we meet on every Tuesday night on a Zoom meeting. I can send you the link to that particular meeting. It's every Tuesday from 7 to 8:30, and we have the room till 9.
Yeah.
It's usually always till 9. It's an amazing group. I have been attending it almost 6 years now, and my loved one is in recovery for 5 of those almost 6 years. So just the help that it's given me, the strength that it's given me, listening to the stories from other people, is really amazing to get that help, to hear those stories. When you first go in and it's like your stories, I'm the worst. Nobody's story's worse than mine. Trust me. Oh, trust me. Some of them are really bad. So, to see that family member come out of it stronger and healthier, and being able to set the boundaries that we need to set is so important. And Eric, yes.
Let her know we do meet live like once a month for now. They eventually we'll be back to live meetings,
Yes,
like we used to be.
I'll be getting to that too, and I'm going to try and pop that into here, that information for you. I do see Bob is in here. Maybe he can pop it in there, and we do meet every Tuesday through the Blue Jeans app. But we have started going back to the in-person family group on the first Saturday of each month at the Living Grin Oxford Valley location. So if you want information, Saturdays we meet from 11 to 12:30. Sometimes we go over. Well, so far every time we've gone over. So
Too many damn donuts, people don't eat.
I know. Donuts and coffee. But yes, Nicole, we actually will be having a in-person meeting on this coming Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
Yeah.
Not this Saturday, next Saturday. There is talk about some meetings coming back to Live in Grin, so I will post that in the Living Hopeful page, so anybody that's following us can see when we do go back to the Tuesday night meetings. I think they are going to continue Blue Jeans, so it's going to be a hybrid meeting. So some people will be there live, some people will be there through the Blue Jeans app. So stand by for that, and we'll pop that into this feed for you. And after the show, I will pop it in as well. It'll give you the Blue Jeans group number and the password so that you can join on Tuesday night. But so we'll get back to you finding out him going to his treatment and everything. So now he's been in treatment for how long?
I would say since February, right? Yeah, about February.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, about February. So, so he's been up there. So,
Right. Now, do they have any type of family support?
well, yeah, she said that they do, but I know you have to. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's like, you know, I've been disappointed so many times. Just like I gotta get over it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just
And that's hard.
yeah.
That's hard. The relapse is, you know, they say that relapse is part of the recovery.
Yeah.
And I also hear that relapse is because you're not working a program,
It's a
which,
double-edged sword.
you know.
Yeah.
People feel differently about that.
so, you know, that's a hard thing to take. Like,
Yeah.
so, I mean, as far as my body, it's like I need to reach out to whoever can help me. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm going to see it through until,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm a control freak. So, even though I know I can't control it,
Yeah.
somehow I'm going to control it,
Yeah.
and I know it's out of my hands. It's that was a hard thing to understand when I first started going to the family group. You didn't cause it, you can't control it, and you can't cure it. And then I added, you don't have to condone it either.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to get to that place with your loved one, whether they're going to stay living at the home or whether they're going to have to live elsewhere. And that's hard when it's a spouse, because the spouse helps with the mortgage, the car payments, you know, that's a whole other issue. But when it's your child, you know, you still have to be able to live in a stress-free world. Like, there's so much stress outside of the house. You don't want it inside the home.
Yeah.
But, and when I first started going to meetings, all I could hear them saying was, just throw them out, just throw them out, just throw them out. And I'm like, why would you throw somebody you love out on the street? Like, why? Some people have to. Some people get to that point where, you know, whether it's they're stealing from you, whether they're abusing you, whether they're just causing chaos that's making you sick. Sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, listen, you have a choice. You can live here in the lifestyle that we expect and that we're living, or you can choose to live in the lifestyle that you've come accustomed to. And that took quite some time for me to hear. I mean, I heard it every week,
Yeah.
but that's not what I was hearing in my head.
Right.
Just throw them out, throw them out, throw them out. Like, so I think it's so important when you first start going to the groups that you really just sit and listen and listen to what they have gone through. nobody's telling you what to do or how to do it. They're giving you their story, what they did with their loved one,
Yeah.
and what worked for them and what didn't work for them. So that's so important for us as family members to understand that, you know, we still have to do what we can live with. So for some people, getting to that point takes a lot of pain and a lot of suffering
Yeah.
and a shit ton of chaos.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of, when have you had enough? When, you know, you're getting sick from all the chaos, are you going to help them in the hospital? No.
Right.
You can't help yourself. How are you going to help them? So I think that's important. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to ask a question to
Okay.
Deborah. Being a nurse, you know, being surrounded by medical people all the time, have you noticed any difference in how the medical community views addiction now? Say maybe over the last 6 years, have you seen like a change in maybe how they look at things? I know I've talked to some, and they're starting to change how they view it, and they're starting to come to agree that it is a disease. But I mean, for a longest time, they were pretty bitter about it. A lot of them. I mean, they're tired of seeing the same people coming in their ERs nonstop, and I was kind of shocked at how ill-trained they were in addiction. I mean, I could tell you a couple stories. I don't want to say anything, but people don't talk about that. But I was shocked. People in the medical field didn't know a lot of things, like about Narcan and all, thinking that it could be harmful if it was administered and they weren't using that drug. I said, no, that's not the case. Yeah, just little things like that. And I found a lot of them to be kind of opinionated, especially when I've been with people in the ER. I went to meet them that I was sent there by different organizations, and I could feel in the room, you know, like some disgust, you know, and these people on. But I've seen it changing, and I didn't know if it maybe just what I'm perceiving, or if you've seen like the medical community finally kind of come to grips with, yeah, it is a disease, and we got to approach this differently.
Right, yeah, it has been changing. Like in
Yeah.
the past, you would think, oh, let's be done and everything. They didn't really want to bother with them. But now it is a disease, so now we have to treat it differently.
Right.
So they use different medications now. Like it used to be like Ativan, Librium, and everything. So now they're using like the Neurontin, the Catapress, like less, less addictive, drugs.
That's definitely
so.
promising news there. That's great to
Yeah,
hear.
so that's that what we've been doing lately. So yeah.
And I do know that a lot of people are coming out and talking to the nursing staffs and trying to make them understand, what's going on mentally with them, that, they are band jerk-offs, but that's not who they really are. They're just influenced by the drug. And I know some facilities are even having them contact the nursing staff and saying thank you, and they appreciate their help, and they're really sorry for being such jerk-offs. How many people are doing that, I don't know. But
yeah, well, I haven't gotten that yet, but really nothing like that.
and I think that's
maybe they don't remember.
Yeah.
That
Well,
they're
and
acting
they don't.
that way.
They don't.
So that's
for the most part, they don't remember that. That's just something they don't remember because they're high.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just ruined their high.
Yeah, we
they
had
don't-
to give Narcan to
Yep.
a few people, and boy, were they nasty when they came out of that.
Yes.
Oh, they were. I thought
I
they were
hear
going to
that all
bite
the
your head
time.
off. Oh, it was
I've been hearing it all the
bad.
time, and I've been on so many reversals.
Uh-huh.
I don't really see that as much.
Oh,
People
yeah,
do you want them to be. I see them want to bounce and leave. I mean, I've seen guy blue, cold to the touch, gray, come reverse like a baby being born, turn to pink again, come back to life and take that big breath, get to their feet, and they just want to leave. Like, well, you gotta calm down. I mean, they're anxious to leave because they don't want to be there when the police get there or this or that, and I got to tell them, hey, this Narcan's only buying you a window of opportunity. You're still your body's coursing with heroin and fentanyl still right now. In a half an hour you can just fall flat on this payment again. You need some medical help. And you got to con them into that, or they just want to bounce. I mean, I've never really had a violent person.
Yeah.
Right. And and a lot of
so
times,
many. I got a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And-
we had a few.
Some a little irritated. Some, and that's another trick to get them to come out when they're overdosing. They're like, they can still kind of hear you. If you tell them you're going to Narcan them, and that's what we're trained to do now, and they subconsciously hear that can be a trigger enough to gain consciousness, because they know the side effect could be, because they're like at that point, so listen, if you don't come and talk to me, I'm going to have to Narcan you right now. And they'll think, oh, wait. Like, and like that, we're told you don't even have to give the second dose. I mean, there's 2 doses in a box. You just give them one, and just to get them breathing. You don't want to, people get too carried away and you give them too much, like even the experts tell you, just try to bring them out of it, just sort of breathing, and let the EMTs get there on handling it. Because otherwise, they're just going to get up, and it's amazing. When I tell you they're at death's door, and 2 minutes later, they're up bouncing and running down the street.
Wow.
It's like, oh my God. It's bizarre.
and Nicole, I have your question, your comment here. I have one who overdosed 3 years ago, who now needs around the clock care. And then I have one who is in active addiction now. I need more support. And please know, Nicole, that there is a lot of support out there. I just messaged you, comment in your chat. I am here to talk to. You can call me, and my number you can reach me at is 267-737-8031. I can help you find different support groups. I do know a couple people that have that are in the same situation that you are with around the clock care. So, and that's got to be tough to be worrying about another child out there as well. So, please reach out. And we'll see what we can do to get you more help. I did post the parent group information in the chat, so please, if I don't know if you can copy and post that in there. Are you in the Lower Bucks County or Philly area? Because we do have several different support systems out there. So if you need Narcan, please let me know. I can help you with that if you don't have it at home already. Narcan is so important for families that have someone that is in active addiction. Oh, you're right. I'm right down the road. So please reach out to me, and I'll get you hooked up with Narcan if you need it. I'll get you some. So Eric here says, the end of a child's addiction is the beginnings of a new life for all of those involved. Yes.
So true.
And that is so incredibly true. And and even as a spouse, like, recovery is so amazing. I see so many people. It's crazy living in recovery, and it just.
So we're around more people in recovery than people that aren't in recovery now. We talk to them, and you see them. They're genuinely happy, and it's you hear what kind of hell they were going through back then, and it's just amazing what a transformation it made for them. It's pretty humbling for us. I mean, you see.
Now you also have a daughter involved in all of this.
Yes.
and she's just caught up in the chaos of it all.
Yes, she is.
And I don't know if she's willing to chat about that either, but I love to hear about, you know, the sibling side of it too, because a lot of times the sibling is left behind because they're all the focus is constantly on the one that's using. Because the one that's using is causing the chaos, the one that's using is causing, you know, the sleepless nights, the anger, you know, and how can I help them? How can I do this? How can I do that? They want to help, but they kind of get put on that back burner. Do you feel that she has those issues?
Well, yeah, like she was always, you know, like the caregiver, you know, like 10 years old and, you know, taking care of Dad when I went to work and everything. So, yeah, it's rough, but it's like hard for her to talk about it. So maybe if she calls you personally, maybe she can talk to you to, you know, let you know how she feels. Maybe that would be a little better than, you know.
And please feel free. We're always here listening. I'm always here to try and find support. If I can't help you, I will try and my best to find somebody that can. The most important thing is to reach out. And it's got to be hard because probably growing up they were probably close. And then the addiction started and now there's anger because first off, he's taken up all of your time. And second off, she's lost probably her best friend. And
they don't talk about it a lot of times, I know, because then they feel like they're being a bad person or selfish, you know, where they've been, you know, they've gotten less attention because all the attention's been towards other people, and they, like Lori said, they feel behind, but you'll never really see them show that anger or anything. I wouldn't even say it's anger. I think it's more like disappointment or they're saddened about it because like they were deprived so much of that attention. You know, I should have got like half of that attention. You know, and we're like, you always got to focus on the ones with the problem because that's what you have to do. You know, and like it's kind of like bummed out, like they didn't left out of the equation.
Yeah, and that's how it was, you know, with me and her because I was always worried about Gregory.
Right.
And then she, you know, kind of got neglected by me. And not neglected, but, you know, just like, you know, ignored, you know, so. And, you know, it wasn't right, so.
Like, you know, my had a bad day. You asked me about my day, you know, but no, everything, you know, nobody ever asked me how I'm doing, you know. I had a crappy day, you know. I don't even bother saying anything, and nobody's going to give a crap.
Right. So, and it's important. It's important that we remember that we have other children that need that attention too, and probably more attention because they're always getting the shaft, you know. And it's not on purpose. We don't do it on purpose. It's just, you know, when you think you could lose a loved one to this addiction, you're going to do anything and everything you can to save their lives. And
that's what we're programmed to do, especially as parents.
Right. It's hard.
Sometimes we love them too much, and I always say, and we have to watch before we cross over into, you know, enabling. Because you can very easily love your child to death if you don't come to grips with what's going on and what you're doing. I mean, you know, when we're children ourselves, we're told what it's like to be a good parent. You know, especially little girls. You know, you got your dolls, you do this and that. You know, you play. You know, like. You're always told you do anything for your children. I remember my followers said, you know, you fall on a sword if you have to for your kids, you know. That's your job as a man, you know, like run to a burning building if need be. And that's the way it's ingrained in us as people, as humans. You know, now all of a sudden, I got to step back and watch my child hurt. I can't fix this for them. I can't, because, you know, it makes you feel powerless as a parent, you know, like, wait, I can't fix this child. It's just not right. I should be doing something. And that's why people, you know, they enable without even realizing it because they feel like they're bringing them out of their pain, you know, they're giving them money or something, and you want to think they're spending it on something else, and you know they're not. You know, but they're happy or they're not in pain, and like you're just so confused, I don't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want them going out and stealing or something happening. And God,
Right.
I mean, you make irrational decisions, and you somehow rationalize them in your own mind, and it happens to all of us.
And Joy Ashley says, my sister did feel that way when I went into treatment and in early recovery. And, I mean, that's somebody that, was going through addiction, knowing that her sister had those resentments. So it's hard when we don't realize that our other children are suffering from all of that attention to the one that's using. And Nicole, she says, I'm not sure how long, about 2 years. I think he did rehab last summer, but he's been spiraling since November, and it's getting much worse recently. And Nicole, I'm glad that you're here tonight, and we're gonna find you the support that you need, because the support is the most important tool that we can get as loved ones, where our loved ones that are using, that are active, have so many resources out there, but and unfortunately it's up to them to reach out to get that. We can't make them, and that's really hard to accept, that we can't just say, okay, go get fixed and come back. Like, it's just so mind-boggling how these chemicals just take over and hijack that brain. It just hijacks it, and the decisions, they're not theirs anymore. It's just totally high, and especially with the heroin and the fentanyl, and now they're doing the crazy thing, Tranq, which is a tranquilizer for large animals. That is insane. And it's becoming more and more prevalent.
And it's Narcan resistant. There's no reversal.
Right.
The Narcan has no effects on it.
Right.
Works tranquilizer.
I mean, these are for big animals. We're talking like farm animals.
Around a long time when it's really resurfaced just recently, from what we understand, what we're being told.
It's being mixed with the fentanyl and with the heroin. It's just crazy. And it's kind of, I don't know if you've ever heard of the crocodile or alligator. I don't know what it is, but it's croc. It was actually eating away their skin, and that's what's happening with this Tranq now.
So, as far as like this Tranq stuff, I mean, like, what do you get out of it that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does it do for you? Like that because I mean,
it's an opiate. It's just like fentanyl. It's stronger than fentanyl because.
Yeah, but wouldn't it just put you right down to sleep and you don't even enjoy your high?
What happens is with an opiate, you build your
Tolerance. It's like alcohol. Okay.
Right. So you're taking heroin. So you have to keep building up to keep up with that tolerance. You can no longer get high. You're not getting high after a certain point with heroin. With your opiates, you're not getting high anymore. You're not taking it to get high. You're taking it just so that you're not in withdrawal, that you're not getting it sick.
The pain,
right.
That's what you're trying to get rid of.
So,
The party's over. You start doing it at that point, you're doing it
right.
well. It's just like drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
When you get to the point where you're really heavily and you're drinking, I mean, you're just drinking to level out. I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
right.
to feel so you can function.
Right.
That's what I don't know if you were here when I was telling Laura about it, but that's how I was, and that's what drove me to to Livingren. But it's just I couldn't do it on my own. And that's what gave me the 28 days to sit there and regroup and get sober, and it's like okay, now I got my
That's why you know how so many alcoholics tend to go towards vodka.
Yep.
You know why?
No.
There's a lot of misnomer. Was vodka one of your drinks of choice?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that funny? I'm not the smartest guy in the world either, but But you know why people say, oh, because of the smell? No, because it gets you where you need to be the fastest. It's pure ethanol.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I learned this from a professor
okay.
at a meeting
Yeah.
because I always thought, oh, they can't smell it on you. But
Yeah, right,
it's
right.
fine because it gets you to where you need to be the fastest, and you can feel well in a sense
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, because I was telling Laura, because I'm Eastern European, and that's all we drink. So that's what I was like. Oh, that's our drink of choice. So what the hell, you know? you know?
But
Yes.
I remember the guy that presented that question. I said, remember that? We're
I'll be
like,
darned.
got a different answer, and I'm like, no. He says no.
Right.
The
That's
reason
pure-
is, and that's what you
Right.
told
I'll
him.
be darned.
And Eric,
That's one thing I never knew.
yeah. And Eric
How about that?
says it's nearly impossible for us as a parent to dangle the right carrot. Oh, absolutely. And I'm gonna butcher that name.
Victor Shakopoulos.
No, it's. I'm gonna butcher that. I can't even. Debbie and Greg, we're going to keep you all in prayer. Glad to see you have a support system.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, with this disease, this is what is needed. The support is so necessary. There's so many people that are hiding in the living room, like peeking out, like, oh, I hope nobody knows. You know, that neighbor is the first one that's going to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
The neighbor's going to be the first one seeing them out there, you know, buying it right in front of the house. They're going to be the first one to see them, you know, staggering up or,
The shopping
you know.
center or here or there, you know.
Yeah, they're the first ones to know. So a lot of fear, I think, with the family members is walking into a meeting and seeing a neighbor like, oh crap.
That happened to me.
And
It really did.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
I
Well,
went to the meeting over there to call by my house and stuff like that. Next time I look over, I was like, oh shit, James, what are you doing here? You know?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I'm
oh,
out here buying Girl Scout
Everybody
cookies. Yeah. Oh, isn't this the Overeaters meeting? Oh, I'm wrong.
yeah.
So, you know, we tend to
Yeah.
forget, like, we're not the only ones going through this. And why wouldn't you step in there and say, thank God, I have somebody
Yeah.
that I can talk to. Like, there's your support right there,
Yeah.
you know? And however, here's another angle. Your kid got my kid hooked. No, your kid got my kid hooked. So now we have to get past that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were going to get hooked no matter who did it. So
That girl he met in rehab, she's the one that drug him down and made him realize, oh my gosh, have you heard that somebody?
Yeah. you know, and you know, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter. I know my loved one. I always said, oh, if I see them on the sidewalk, I'm going to run them down. I mean, that's just how it doesn't matter, because if it wasn't that one, it's going to be this one, it's going to be this one, it's
You're
going to
lucky
be
that
that one.
grandmother called us at that time. I mean, so that was pretty courageous on her part, because so many people hide it. They don't want to break the news to you. They're afraid how you might react to the news. Mind your own business. So everybody just minds their own business anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, sadly.
Right.
I mean, and that accounts for so much. I mean, spousal abuse, and all people see stuff like that. They know, oh, you don't want to say that. You don't want to get involved. You know, just anything where everybody just stays in their own house anymore. They ain't like the old days where everybody go out and have a picnic out. I got neighbors I don't even know their name. I don't even know their name. Been living there for what, 10 years? Don't know. He's a miserable sort, so I
Yeah,
just it's
and we've been living here
almost 30 years.
29 years. We're married 29 years. So, you know, we had a lot of close-knit neighbors who have either, you know, moved on or
Old age.
passed away
A lot of
because
old
of their
people.
age. But, and new people are coming in, so it's a different kind of
Yeah.
animal out there. But Eric says the key is to change the person's whole response to themselves and their reactions. Yes, sir. Eric is a very upbeat guy. He has so much help and support. He's an awesome guy. I deal with him. But with all of the support out there, these are my go-tos because they've helped me so much in my just support when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't sleep and you're worrying and you're scared to death and you don't want to reach out to somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is a Naranon book. I don't even know where it's at. That's a Naranon book that is
There we go.
the Naranon, Sharing Experience, Strength, and Hope. They call it the Sesh book. You can get this at any Naranon meeting, or you can order it on Amazon. Sorry. And a lot of times we have it at the in-person meetings. So anybody that comes to the meeting on next Saturday, they'll probably have this book available. If not, you can order it on, like I said, Amazon, or get it at a Naranon meeting, or maybe somebody you know in Naranon can help you out with that. But this is a great book. Whatever you happen to be feeling at the time, whether you can't sleep or you're worried, you're scared, whatever feeling you have, there's an index in the back that you can actually turn to, and you can actually read all the chapters on that feeling, just to help ground yourself. And this is my go-to. This is my Bible. I love this book. Another book that helped me, and it wasn't sad to say I did not find this until after my loved one found recovery, but it helps me not want to punch out the cashier at Acme. So,
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Beyond Addiction.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
that's a
an
good book.
amazing book. It helps you with the communication with your loved one. It tells you when not to talk to them, when to talk to them, how to stop a conversation, how to restart a conversation. This book is amazing. This book takes time. There are so many exercises to help you communicate and turn your confrontational conversation into a constructive conversation, and just helps guide them into recovery. The Big Book of AA is also another great book to read. You learn a lot about your loved one and yourself as well. I have not read this yet. It was I just heard about it the other night. This is called Bomb, and I got this off of Amazon. I can't wait to start it. They said that it's kind of like Beyond Addiction, so
I thought you were making lotions.
I'm looking forward to trying to reading this. It's really reading and just the education that you get through the support. Whether you go attend events, we haven't had any due to COVID, but when my loved one, thank goodness, it started with my loved one. I actually hit every town hall meeting, every school function that had anything to do with addiction, just so that I could learn and understand. We are getting ready to,
Can we
you know,
say hello to Walter?
you are-
my brother-in-law.
there you go.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, Walter. Thank you so much for your prayers. I just wanted to acknowledge that I see your little writing there.
Yes. Walter says, "Hi, great sharing, hopes and prayers with Deb and Greg and family. Will this podcast be rebroadcast at a later date?" We save these, re-record them, and they're always available on Living Hopeful page, so you can always go back and rewatch.
Click on videos.
Just click on the video toggle on right underneath the banner, I think is where you'll find it. I am not good enough because you made me do this. I'll show you, I'll hurt me. You just don't understand. Another prolific Eric Clausen. He always has such great things to share. And Fred, you're welcome, please. That's one of the most important things. Fred says, thank you all for helping me get through today sober. And people don't understand that the program is a we program.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a village. Like, there's always phone numbers, there's always support out there. If you find yourself your sponsor, there's always somebody to talk to. Instead of picking up the drink or the drug, there's always a phone number. There's always somebody that can meet you for coffee. Or, you know, if, you know, Tom, George, and Andy can't meet you, Bill can. Like, you just keep going down the line, and you keep calling until you find that person that can talk to you and help you with not picking up that drink or the drug. It's so important to find your support and stay strong in your program. You know, they say 90 days, 90 meetings, and that's great. But, you know, that doesn't have to be forever either. You know, it's just the beginning. You need to change the way you've been doing things. And that's kind of hard. I mean, even for me, you know, let's go in and make the bed every day for, you know, 30 days so that I know that when I wake up, I'm going to make the bed. Well, I got to get there first, because that's usually, you know, before we go to bed, we make the bed. So that's what these programs do. They help you reprogram your brain after, you know, erasing it with all the drugs and the substance that you're putting into it. So everybody, I just want to thank you for reaching out, coming out, and talking with us. I hope this has helped somebody along the way. Please share these out so that we can help the next person that feels alone and needing just some support. We will be back next Friday. Not sure who will be the speaker next Friday, but you'll find it on Living Hopeful page. If you are struggling, you need support, you need help in any way, please give us a call at 267-737-8031. We are here. We are always listening, and if I don't have the resource that will help you, I will find the resource somehow. So everybody, thanks for watching. See you next Friday. Anything?
You want to do a couple shout outs?
Shout out?
All right. I just want to say hi to my daughter Jess and her boyfriend Sean. I want to say hi to my my brother Rob and his wife Michelle, and also to Sue and Walt.
Oh,
Right, man.
and see, we didn't even have to start the music.
And recovery works everywhere.
If you work it. Everybody have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial Day holiday. If you are struggling and are ready to pick up that drink or the drug because of a holiday, please reach out. We are here. We are listening. Everybody have a great Memorial Day. Peace out.
Peace out.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.